No one in that room expected anything from him. He was 43 years old. His suit was clean, but it was old. The kind of suit you can tell has been pressed 100 times, hung carefully after every wear, because there wasn't money for another one. He sat in the waiting area with 12 other candidates, younger, sharper looking, confident in the way people are, when life hasn't asked too much of them yet. One of them glanced over and smiled, not warmly. The kind of smile that says, "Why is he even here?" His name was Daniel, and he had one shot. Daniel hadn't always been this man. 8 years ago, he had a career, a home, a wife. Then, in the span of 1 year, he lost all three. His wife left. The company he worked for downsized. And the house, well, the house followed everything else. He moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with his daughter, Maya. She was 5 years old enough to notice that Daddy cried sometimes at night, but young enough to believe him when he said everything was okay. For 8 years, Daniel worked whatever job he could find. Warehouse shifts, delivery routes, weekend security, whatever kept the lights on and Maya in school. He never complained. But every night after Maya was asleep, he sat at the kitchen table with a notebook, studying, preparing, building something she couldn't see yet. Because Daniel had a plan. The job was operations director at a mid-sized logistics company. It paid 3 times what he had ever earned. It came with benefits, stability, a future. The interview panel had 3 people: the HR manager, a department head, and the CEO, a sharp woman in her 50s named Ms. Carter, known for asking one question that had ended more careers than it had built. The younger candidates went first. They talked about their MBAs, their frameworks, their KPIs, their synergies. Ms. Carter listened politely, made notes, nodded. Then Daniel walked in. The HR manager looked down at his resume, then up at him. There was a pause, the kind that carries judgment inside it. "So, Mr. Daniel, it looks like you've had quite a few varied positions over the years." Varied. The word landed like a quiet insult. Daniel didn't flinch. "Yes," he said simply. "I have." Ms. Carter leaned forward. "Tell me, what makes you think you're qualified for a director-level role when you've spent the last 8 years in logistics support, security, and delivery?" The room felt smaller. One of the panel members shifted in his chair. The HR manager clicked his pen twice. And then Ms. Carter asked the question, the one that had sent people walking out the door. "Mr. Daniel, and in one sentence, tell me why I should choose you over someone with twice the credentials and half your age." The room went still. Daniel looked at her. Not nervously, not defensively. He looked at her the way a man looks when he has nothing left to prove and everything left to give. He said, "Because for 8 years, I ran a company of 2. No investors, no safety net, no backup plan. Just a little girl depending on me to figure it out every single day. And I never missed a deadline." Silence. Not the uncomfortable kind. The kind that fills a room after something true has been said. Ms. Carter set down her pen. The HR manager stopped clicking. And the department head, who had barely looked up the entire interview, slowly raised his eyes. Ms. Carter studied Daniel for a long moment. Then she said something none of them expected. "That's the best answer I've heard in 20 years of doing this." Daniel got the job. He started 2 weeks later. On his first day, he brought Maya to drop her at school. She straightened his tie, the old one, pressed one more time, and said, "You look like a boss, Daddy." He laughed. Then he walked to his car, sat for a moment, and let himself feel it. Everything he had carried, every night at that kitchen table, every shift, every sacrifice, every time he chose to keep going, when giving up would have been so much easier. It had all been building toward this, not just the job, but the man he had become to get it. There's something the world doesn't often say about quiet people. The ones who don't broadcast their pain, who don't ask for applause, who simply put their head down and work. They are not weak. They are not forgotten. They are building something, slowly, silently, surely. And when the moment comes, they don't need to say much, because everything they've been through speaks for them. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you're in a season where it feels like no one sees what you're carrying, hold on. Your moment is coming. Subscribe for more stories about strength, sacrifice, and the quiet power of everyday people.